Warning strike 24 hours to D-Day. Federal government's NLC meets. That story is on page 9 of Al Jazeera newspaper. Again, we have another story here which says oil and gas coils. NUPRC threaten license revocation over non-remittance of funds to communities. That story is on page 14 of Al Jazeera newspaper this morning. Good morning, my lovely people. Thank you so much for always clicking on my videos to watch. And today I bring to you Al Jazeera newspaper, being the 4th day of September 2023. And trust me, the headlines I'm seeing here today is worth knowing, and that is why I want to share with you today the headlines from Al Jazeera newspaper. Again, we have another story here which says Sule refutes alleged traditional rulers' plots to influence Goba tribunal. The story is on page 2. That is the governor of Nasarawa State. Again, we have another story here which says Oyo governor approves new zone of Ogbomoso land. The story is on page 20 of Al Jazeera newspaper. Again, we have another story here which says Adamawa Borno Yobe 8.3 million in dire humanitarian needs, says minister. That story is on page 8 of Al Jazeera newspaper. Again, we have another story here which says NBA demands review of judicial officer remuneration. That story is on page 9 of Al Jazeera newspaper. Again, we have another story here which says federal government 1.43 trillion naira expenditure exceeds revenue generated in 3 months, says CBN. That story is on page 15 of Al Jazeera newspaper this morning. Again, we have another story here which says palliatives. Niger tops of federal government 5 billion naira declares 3 days holiday for distribution. That story is on page 2 of Al Jazeera newspaper. 3 days holiday for distribution of palliatives. Wow, interesting. And again, we have another story here which says outcome of local government polls reaffirms PDP dominance in Edo, Obaseki. That story is on page 5 of Al Jazeera newspaper. Again, we have another story here which says NYSC holds cultural carnival in Akwa Ibom to strengthen national unity. That story is on page 6 of Al Jazeera newspaper. That's interesting. You know, carnival is always fun. You can see the joy. And another story here that captured my mind is that of Adamawa Borno Yobe 8.3 million in dire humanitarian needs, says Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, that is Betta Edu. Wow, you know, it's true because Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states, I just hope that the federal government will do something to reach out to these people who are in needs in the states. So my lovely people, these are the headlines we have here on Al Jazeera newspaper, and I feel this is very important for me to share with you. Thank you so much for always watching. Until I